Welcome back. Startling details of mismanagement coming out of the Police Force Reserve audit, a 136-page document laid on the table of the House of Assembly today. With the details, we go to a report from our BJ McDermott.
When established, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Reserve Division consisted of 4 ranks: Assistant Superintendent, Inspector, Corporal, and Constable. Well, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Reserve Audit 2019 revealing that 4 ranks were introduced without Cabinet's approval and should never have existed. These ranks are Senior Assistant Commissioner of Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Chief Superintendent, and Superintendent. The report noted that 5.2% of reserves are operating in these capacities. These ranks also received allowances going as high as $12 per hour for the most senior rank, Senior Assistant Commissioner, which exceeds allowances for the 4 ranks mandated by law. Members of the Police Reserve are required to work an average of 4 hours per week with 4 weeks entitled vacation. The culture of reserve officers, however, indicated that officers oftentimes devise their own schedules and fail to report for assigned duties due to poor management. Also, a large percentage of reserves reported for duty when not authorized to do so. There was also notable discrepancies in the number of hours reserve officers are permitted to work. The Police Act 2009 stipulates that reserves should work 192 hours per year. But for the last 10 years, reserves have been permitted to work up to 150 hours per month. It also noted that there are no amendments made to the Police Act 2009 or the Police Force Consolidated Order of 2009 to justify the increased work hours. That means in a given year, reserves could have worked up to 1,800 hours, equaling an 837.5% increase when compared to the initial allotted hours. It also noted that some officers were exceeding both the 150 hours per month and the 192 hours per year rule. Additionally, reserve officers had opted to report to duty as if they were career officers, exceeding the maximum allotted hours. There are 1,225 reserve officers, 700 or 63% considered active, while 467 or 38.8% deemed inactive, but were still being paid according to the payroll office. In 2018, of the 768 active officers, 510 officers or 66.4% worked between 0.1 hours and 140.9 hours. Meantime, 235 officers or 30.6% worked between 150 hours and 199.9 hours. 23 or 2.9% worked 200 hours or more. The report then notes that as a result of poor management, reserve officers use contingency funds on a monthly basis to meet salary requirements as funds allocated in the budget were not sufficient. Of the 1,255 reserve officers in the Bahamas, 44% or 124 officers are between the age of 55 and 64 years, 28.4% or 80 between 44 and 54 years, 13.8% or 39 officers are 65 years and older, 11.7% or 33 officers are between 25 and 44 years, and 2.1% or 6 officers between 25 and 34 years. Reporting for Jcntvnews, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Disturbing allegations that several Carnival cruise line ships dumped tens of thousands of gallons of treated sewer in Bahamian waters, now the subject of a full-on local investigation. Transport Minister Renward Wells noting in a release today that the government has at this point reached out to the Port Department as well as the Bahamas Maritime Authority, and that contact has also been made with Carnival. The company is said to be in cooperation fully with the Bahamas and has pledged full transparency in the investigation. Undoubtedly, the aims to provide an appropriate response to commensurate to the actions. Now, according to the minister, while the ships are not Bahamian flagged, if it is found that the allegations are true, these will be considered serious violations of the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships 1973-1978 MARPOL, to which the Bahamas is a party. Any recommendations then arising from the investigation will be implemented to ensure that such incidents do not reoccur.
The Bahamian people can rest assured. We hope that before the end of this year, and hopefully before the end of the summer, we will have a comprehensive series of environmental protection laws to further enhance the ability of this country not only to, in a sense, manage its own environment in an environmentally friendly way, but also properly sanction those who would abuse the privileges that they enjoy to come, for example, and sail in our waters. There are also instances of dumping habits that contribute to the pollution and the plastic pollution in our oceans. And these practices by guests in our country must be eradicated forthwith. Forthwith.
Meanwhile, the government's getting tough with those who abuse the environment. Attorney General Carl Bethel giving notice today of an aggressive suite of environmental protection laws to immediately stop those guilty of such habits. In fact, he admitted Environment Minister Ramal Ferreira has for months been pressuring draftsmen in his office to get the ball rolling.
It is a difficult job, but all I can say is that we will do what we have to do to arm the necessary government agencies with the lawful authority to deal with any breaches either as they occur, before any damage is inflicted, or after they occur.
Now, the minister accepts that with tens of thousands of nautical miles to protect, the size of the population along with geography, this will not be easy. Talk of such laws come in the face of public outcry after it was disclosed last week that Carnival cruise ships had dumped more than 450,000 gallons of treated sewerage into Bahamian waters in 2017. And this only a year after pleading guilty to a similar charge a year earlier. A U.S. court in turn slapped the cruise line with a hefty fine of $40 million and placed it on probation for 5 years. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.